Hi guys, Marvin here from shopsadapage.com, and today I'm finally giving you guys my full review of the Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse. Again, for my international viewers, Rakk Gears is a local brand here in the Philippines that produces budget gaming peripherals. They are the same company that produced the very popular Rakk Lam-ang Pro that I've reviewed recently, which you can check out here. This gaming mouse is their flagship mouse, and I must say I am really impressed with it. With that said, let's get into it. Alright guys, I have here the packaging for the Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse. If you haven't watched my unboxing and first impressions of this mouse, you can check it out here. But basically, what you're getting inside the box is the Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse itself, 2 optional side grips, 2 replacement mouse feet, a few replacement DPI button covers, and a user manual. At first touch, the Rakk Kaptan looks and feels really good. It has this nice smooth matte texture on it that I really like, and I always prefer compared to a glossy or rough textured finish. It has a weight of around 84 grams, which although not on par with the specifications, is still pretty lightweight. So right here, we have the scroll wheel, the DPI button, the left and right mouse clickers, and then at the rear end, we have a Rakk logo right here. On the left side, we have the forward and back buttons, and we can see a little bit of the RGB lining here. On the other side, we also have the RGB lining right here, and it has the subtle curve on this side wherein you can rest your fingers. At the back, we can clearly see the curvature of this mouse towards the right as well as on the front view as you can see here. At the bottom, we have the model name, serial number, certifications, and of course the polling rate switch and the PixArt PMW3389 sensor. And lastly, we have 2 large mouse feet right here. Overall, as you can see, this mouse looks really good. Now looking at the cable, instead of using the traditional stiff braided cable, Rakk Gears decided to use paracord instead, which I highly appreciate. It also has a Velcro strap, and the USB plug is also gold-plated, which is a nice touch. The paracord cable is very flexible and lightweight as well, which should reduce cable drag, allowing the mouse to have unrestricted movement. Like I said, the texture of this mouse feels really good with a smooth matte finish all around the mouse. I've actually been using this for a few weeks now, and it does get shiny on some parts, but that is pretty normal for this kind of finish. The good thing is that it is white, so it's not that obvious compared to the matte black. But the drawback is it gets dirty easily compared to black, so I guess choose your poison. Now when it comes to the buttons, the left and right mouse clickers are Wano switches, which are heavier but more durable than the popular Omron switch. The scroll wheel feels really nice with tactile notches and crispy clicks. The same goes with the forward and back button, which are equally crisp and satisfying to click, not to mention easy to reach as well using my thumb. Now for the actual dimensions of this mouse, since some of you are asking about it, the length is around 120mm with a width of around 65mm and a height of 42mm. Moving on in terms of comfort, we have this nice curvature here at the right side wherein you can rest your ring and pinky finger nicely. And then on the other side, we have a subtle concave shape here for the grip. At least for the size of my chubby hands, all the buttons are easy to reach and click, which is a huge plus for me because on some mouse, sometimes I cannot easily reach the forward and back buttons. Now, like I said on my first impressions, I'm not a fan of Wano switch because it is quite heavy and that I like the lighter equation with the Omron switch. But as per my experience with this mouse, it is actually not that bad and I think I can get used to this. Now, for the past years, I've been using a Razer Death Adder Elite, and what I miss about it that the Rakk Kaptan doesn't have is these grooves that guides my fingers to the correct spot of the mouse clickers. With the Rakk Kaptan, sometimes I click the left and right mouse clickers at the far side. It does have some slight groove but not as good as my experience with the shape of the Razer Death Adder Elite. But what I don't miss with the Death Adder though is the relatively stiff braided cable, which the Rakk Kaptan has the advantage with. As you can see, the Rakk Kaptan doesn't move at all thanks to its lightweight and flexible paracord cable. Now when it comes to grip styles, although the Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse is specifically made for right-handed users with its curvature, in my opinion, I think it is suitable for all types of grip. Whether you are a palm grip user, fingertip user, or a claw grip user, the mouse clickers can be clicked at almost any area up until the DPI button. And it will just boil down to your shape preference when it comes to the actual location of the hump. By the way, you can also attach the included side grip for better control if you're into that, and replace the DPI button cover for additional customization points. Alright guys, let's talk about the sensor. The Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse is actually using a very good PixArt PMW3389 sensor, which can also be seen with other top-tier brands and models like the Razer Death Adder Elite, HyperX Pulse 5 Pro, the latest Cooler Master MM710 lightweight mouse, and a lot more. That alone should give you an idea that this mouse should perform quite good. Now before we move on to a more technical test, let's do a quick sound test so that you can have an idea how the buttons on this mouse sounds. Okay guys, let's talk about some of the awesome features of this mouse. The Rakk Kaptan actually has an adjustable lift-off distance of 1mm to 3mm. For my testing, I used a 1mm thick CD to check the lift-off distance, and as you can see, with one CD at 1mm lift-off distance, the mouse is tracking properly. But when I add another CD, it stopped tracking until I changed the lift-off distance to 2mm. Now after I add another CD, it stopped tracking properly even at 3mm, because these 3 CDs combined actually exceeded the 3mm lift-off distance as you can see here at 3.5mm. Basically, what this means is that the adjustable lift-off distance works and is a nice addition as people have different techniques and some of them could benefit with this feature. Personally, I use 1mm lift-off distance because I don't want the mouse to move whenever I adjust its placement on a mousepad. Another neat feature of this mouse is the adjustable polling rate with 125Hz, 500Hz, and 1000Hz as your option. Basically, the higher the polling rate, the often it sends signals about its position to your computer, decreasing input lag. But it also consumes more CPU resources. In my opinion, polling rate around 500Hz is pretty decent. And as you can see, the polling rates on this mouse works as intended. Now, when it comes to DPI, since this mouse is using the PMW3389 sensor, it has up to 16,000 DPI that you can fine-tune using the software in increments of 50. Personally, for gaming, I am using 800 DPI for better control, while for normal productivity tasks, I use 2700 DPI for faster movements across the screen. Before, I was actually using high DPI for gaming, but I recently decided to try lower DPI. Though I had to adjust my mousepad's real estate, I think it was worth it because I think I can aim better now. Alright guys, now that we've covered pretty much everything when it comes to comfort and technical details, let's talk about the performance of this mouse, which what really matters most. I've been using this mouse for a few weeks now, and as per my experience, right off the bat the sensor feels really good and accurate. And as I use this mouse day to day for both productivity and gaming, I was able to easily transition to the shape and the one switches. I feel at home with the sensor on this mouse that I can confidently say that I can replace my Razer Adder Elite with this one. I have no problems whatsoever with the accuracy of the sensor, and it also doesn't have any jittering even at the lower DPI setting. I also tested this extensively for quick flick shots and it doesn't spin out. I can do quick 180 degrees turn and still get where I want it to be. If you want to see an uncut gameplay for my testing of this mouse, I actually streamed last week. I'll put a link below so that you can check it out. To be honest guys, I'm hard-pressed to look for something that I don't like about this mouse. The shape is perfect for my hands and the sensor is very good, but if I have to, it's really just about my personal preference when it comes to switch. Like I said, I prefer the lightweight actuation of the Omron switch compared to Huano. But even that, I find the Huano switch on this one not bad at all. I don't know guys, it's just that I don't really see any problem with this mouse, at least for the time being. Durability is something that I need to observe further though. Moving on, before we wrap this up, let's talk about the software. The software is pretty basic but is useful nonetheless. So right here you have your profiles, and then here you can export or import your profiles. You can also restore the mouse to its default settings here and save your current settings to the onboard memory. All the buttons are pretty much customizable, including the scroll up and scroll down movements of the scroll wheel. You can change a button's function to any other function, or use it as a fire key, for key combination, macro, aim key, DPI adjustment, multimedia functions, and office keys. I actually set my forward and back button to I and O for in and out points on my Premiere Pro. On the DPI tab, you can adjust the DPI settings in increments of 50, and you actually have up to 7 different DPI configurations that you can cycle through. Whenever you press the DPI button, it will flash a corresponding color, But unfortunately, it isn't shown on the software, so you have to memorize the colors if you use multiple DPI settings, which I find very inconvenient. I literally have to count whenever I change DPI. On the LED tab, you can change the lighting effects of the mouse. You have steady, breathing, neon, tail, and off. You can change the brightness and speed directly from this software. And you can also choose your desired color from the available color palette. On the parameter tab, this is where the technical settings are located. So you have the mouse sensitivity, which I leave at 6, improved pointer precision, which I leave to off. You also have the scrolling speed and the adjustable double-clicking speed, which may come in handy in the long run. You also have the adjustable lift of distance that we've discussed earlier. And lastly, on the macro tab, you can record your macros and assign it to any button that you like. And that's it for the software. Other than the DPI colors not represented here, the software is pretty intuitive. Alright guys, so to conclude, the Rakk Kaptan gaming mouse, much like the Rakk Lam-ang Pro mechanical keyboard, lived up to its hype and is currently the best gaming mouse Rakk Gears has to offer. Comfort-wise, it is very comfortable with a nice smooth matte texture and a very balanced shape that should fit most hands and grip styles, providing that you're right-handed. The paracord cable is certainly a well-appreciated touch since it actually works as it should, allowing the mouse with complete freedom when it comes to cable drag, while still being durable as a normal braided cable. The buttons are all crispy, no mushy buttons at all, and with a very stable and satisfying scroll wheel. The sensor is on par with top-tier mouse out in the market and is definitely accurate and reliable. The adjustable lift of distance and polling rate are also nice additions. Now, no product is perfect, but like I said, I am really hard-pressed to look for something that I don't like about this mouse. Maybe it just fits my personal preference that well. The only thing that needs to be observed here is the durability, especially with the coating, because I feel like that's the weakest point of this mouse. I will not be surprised if I see this coating shine or fade at some point in the future. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to check the full article link below. Huge thanks to Rakk Gears for sending this in, and hopefully once this video is released, this mouse is already available as well. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day.